So today we're taking an incredibly in-depth look at Horizon Forbidden West, one of this year's most anticipated open world games. Now the team at Guerrilla Games has been practically improving upon every aspect of the previous entry, but how well does everything stack up? Let's talk about Forbidden West's new gameplay mechanics, progression system, open world, settlement system, side quests, and much more. So let's do this. Alright, so first of all, we're going to start out with one of the biggest changes since Zero Dawn, and that's how you get around the open world in Forbidden West. Now, Forbidden West is far more vertical than the previous game, making traversal a lot more interesting. There's more freedom to climb this time around, but you can also get around using two new tools. The Pullcaster, which allows you to zip across and up terrain, but it can also be combined with a glider known as the Shield Wing. So essentially, you could pull yourself forward with the Pullcaster, then activate the Shield Wing for some amazing leverage up around cliff sides. And I gotta say, I also really dig the names of these two new traversal tools. I think they sound actually really cool. And while the open world is very vertical, Aloy, of course, who is our main protagonist, will also be exploring the underwater segments of the West. Aloy will be able to infiltrate certain areas thanks to being a keen swimmer, but she's also going to need to use stealth when coming face to face with some of these deadly underwater creatures. It's going to be definitely a change up to the game loop, and I'm actually quite excited to explore the underwater world because it's also stunning, and I imagine there's going to be tons of secrets found underwater. Now, weapons are going to be a really important part of this game, of course, so weapons are seeing some new changes, but we're also seeing some familiar favorites return as well. Two new elemental options will be making an appearance in this game. They include acid and plasma. Of course, many machines in the wilderness will have different weaknesses and strengths, so it'll be best to know which machine is weak to, say, fire or acid and so on. You'll do this by first investigating with your focus ability, highlighting weak points on a machine and learning how to bring them down before the battle even begins. Now you can easily cycle through all the machine's weak points with the D-pad instead of manually highlighting Aloy's vision over each individual spot. It just makes it so much easier. And some of the new weapons that will help you tackle this goal of taking down these machines include a new explosive weapon known as a Javelin Thrower and another called the Shredder Gauntlet. Thankfully, the Tripcaster is also returning, which is one of my personal favorites. I love that weapon in the original, and I'm thrilled that it's actually returning in this game. But what about melee combat? It's actually seeing some improvements as well, and Aloy will be able to test out her melee skills in what is known as melee pits. Now, one of these arenas is actually called Chain Scrape and should test your skills big time, and the better you do, the better the rewards you get. Yes, you can get some great equipment from the challenges within these arenas, and Aloy will now be able to employ what is called the Resonator Blast in close quarters. So how does this work exactly? Well, Aloy will charge up her spear, then unleash an attack on the enemy and charge them with energy. You'll be able to essentially explode this charge within your enemy by letting loose an arrow on the charged beast. This just means expect combat to not just be about unleashing random attacks. It'll require more thinking to survive the tougher beasts in the wilderness. Now, Horizon Forbidden West has done a great job streamlining the experience when it comes to managing your inventory, by the way. Aloy will be healing herself with a combination of health potions, which of course can be crafted, and Aloy can also forage for healing berries and other plant life as well. Now, Forbidden West has implemented a great system here, by the way. If you collect far too many healing berries to carry, they will just be sent to your stash in one of the mini settlements for you to collect later. This makes managing your health extremely easy and less frustrating, and I love this new system. Now let's talk about progression, skill sets, and upgrades. There are now 6 skill trees that players can explore as they continue to earn more and more skill points as you go throughout the game. We have Trapper, Hunter, Warrior, Survivor, Infiltrator, and finally, wait for it, Machine Master skill trees. But it's Valor Surges that make the skill trees so interesting. These are key milestones you will unlock as you go through a skill tree and affect gameplay in big ways. And there's a total of 12 different Valor Surges that you can actually explore. Aloy will have an energy bar that will fill up in battle, and once filled up, you'll be able to unleash a powerful Valor Surge. Dependent on the selected Valor Surge will affect enemies in different ways. Now be warned though, some of the higher level surges take a while to power up, so Aloy might be vulnerable while trying to dish out this powerful move. Now let's talk about this brand new open world, which by the way looks absolutely stunning as we can see from the gameplay. Now Forbidden West open world is divided into many different biomes, but most notably it's going to be more about the settlements and factions you run into. Now these settlements will be home to peaceful factions, one of which is dedicated to progress, building, crafting, and working together in unity. And yes, Aloy will be able to upgrade gear and outfits at workbenches, and any resources you're missing can be tracked as a job. You'll run into various NPCs and vendors, of course, including herbalists for potions, hunters for weapons, and stitchers for outfits. So a lot of different ways to really invest in your character by exploring the open world and the settlements. Now what's so cool about each tribe and faction is that they have their own personalities. You'll see this in their demeanor, clothing, and architecture. The land has made them who they are, and Guerrilla Games, the studio that is making Forbidden West, have spent countless hours making sure, that each tribe feels different from one another. Now, another tribe is dealing with a threat called the Red Blight, which is killing the land and its creatures. You might be able to help them clear the land of this blight, but it also sounds so hopeless. Now, the Red Blight is such a threat, by the way, it becomes Aloy's main quest line. And beyond that, I'm not going to be talking about story spoilers at all. There's several other tribes, by the way, warring with each other, and we're teased that ultimately there is a mysterious, more powerful tribe beyond the west. But the question remains, who are they? As you can see, the land is full of story and complexities, which will further mold Aloy as a character throughout this game. The open world will also present various side missions and opportunities and challenges, but they seem to tie into the story being told here by the land and its inhabitants, and I love this. They are meant to be far more meaningful, some even rewarding Aloy with entirely new weapons and gear. The ultimate side quest, though, will be in a questline known as the Salvage Contracts. These are contracts which task Aloy in collecting rare resources that must be returned to an outfitter who will in turn craft the best armor in all of the Forbidden West. You'll even run into mini games, of course, like board games, which can be played by Aloy. It just seems like there's going to be a ton of stuff to do in the open world around traversal, combat, and different various challenges, which is going to be really, really cool. Distractions if you want that away from the main plot line. Now, of course, developers have said that you can go through the main plot line if you really just want to focus on the story, but of course, there's an entire open world to be explored here. What about the machines and monsters? Let's talk about those. The game has a wide variety of new machines Aloy will have to worry about. The bristlebacks are like chargers, you remember those, and have acid canisters on their back. Overcharging these canisters with an acid arrow can cause the bristleback to have quite the unwanted reaction, let me tell you what. And the Slitherfang can shoot lightning from its tail and is extremely agile and dangerous. Several of the new machines can burrow, but it seemed like it's the desert here that is the most threatening place in all of Forbidden West because it has some absolutely monstrosities within. Now, Aloy also will be able to tame some of these machines, but she's not the only one with this gift, as many warring factions have learned this skill. Now, let's talk about the PlayStation 4 versus PlayStation 5, and of course, a potential PC release. Thankfully, Guerrilla Games has been very transparent about how Horizon Forbidden West runs on PS4 and of course PlayStation 5. That is great news to hear. While the PS5 version, of course, looks better than the PS4, expect Horizon Forbidden West to still look very sharp on PS4. In fact, it looks like an upgraded version of Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game, which is saying something because that game is already absolutely stunning in my mind, and I still play that game to this day. And while Horizon Forbidden West is only releasing on PlayStation platforms at launch, a lot of fans are wondering if or when it will come to PC. Now, there's no confirmation of this happening, but given Sony's history, I would expect Forbidden West to eventually make its way to PC. It just might take some time. So there it is. Horizon Forbidden West is out on February 18th on PS4, PS4 Pro, and PlayStation 5. It looks like it's going to continue the adventure and push the boundaries of what an open world game can do. Can it take Game of the Year in 2022? That's the big question. I know it's early, but knowing the talent at Guerrilla Games and what they have achieved with Horizon Zero Dawn already, I expect amazing things for Forbidden West. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Smack that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Take care.